250 million years ago, our planet was recovering from the greatest mass extinction event in history. At the end Permian boundary, volcanic eruptions and dramatic climate change eradicated about 81% of marine species and roughly 70% of terrestrial vertebrates. This extinction event was devastating for life on Earth, but also opened the door for great change, leading to the evolution of the largest reptiles to ever walk the Earth. Our story begins in the early Triassic period, when terrestrial ecosystems were populated by the ancestors of mammals called the rhapsids. These animals were highly adaptable, allowing them to survive in this harsh, post-extinction environment. One of the most dominant groups of the rhapsids at the time were cynodonts. These small to medium-sized animals shared many characteristics with modern mammals, like differentiated teeth and efficient respiratory systems. At the beginning of the Triassic period, cynodonts and other therapsids were important components of terrestrial ecosystems, but over the years, they faced more competition from a growing clade of reptiles known as archosaurs. The earliest archosauromorphs, or archosaur-like animals, emerged during the late Permian period before the PT extinction. Back then, they lived mostly in the shadow of the rhapsids, but as ecological dynamics shifted, these reptiles climbed up their respective food chains and began taking over terrestrial ecosystems. Archosaurs had several key evolutionary advantages over the reptiles that came before them. For starters, they had more upright limbs positioned beneath their bodies, unlike their ancestors, who had mostly low, sprawling gaits. With more advanced limbs, some archosaurs moved at greater speeds or even stood up on their hind limbs. Greater mobility became increasingly common throughout the Triassic, even among large, carnivorous archosaurs, like Rauisuchians, who became fearsome predators in the Triassic world. These animals put pressure onto rhapsids, as the two groups sometimes competed for ecological niches. Archosaurs were becoming bigger and stronger, and some of them even hunted the rhapsids. As the Triassic progressed, some therapsid groups were pushed into the shadows and never seen again. At the same time, archosaurs grew and diversified into lineages that would shape the rest of the Mesozoic era. Perhaps the most important group of archosaurs, at least of this story, were known as ornithodorans, which included all archosaurs more closely related to birds and crocodiles. During the middle to late Triassic, the most advanced ornithodorans were bipedal predators like Mesozoic that excelled at running and hunting across prehistoric woodlands. Their pelvises were more stable and flexible than other reptiles, and their hip sockets were open, allowing for a greater range of locomotion. These species also had longer and straighter hind limbs, as well as ankle joints better adapted to life on the move. These advanced ornithodorans would, eventually, diverge into the world's first dinosaurs, which appeared on our planet around 230 million years ago. It's unclear exactly where in the world the first dinosaurs appeared, but many early species were concentrated in warm regions of modern-day South America. There, they inhabited rich, humid forests filled with ferns and tall conifers and populated by a wide variety of prehistoric animals, including therapsids, amphibians, and many kinds of archosaurs. Early dinosaurs, like Eoraptor, were especially well-suited to these more tropical regions. This nimble omnivore stretched about 1 meter long with a light body and legs built for sprinting over difficult terrain. When hunting, Eoraptor darted between trees and leaped over roots, running down smaller reptiles who were at the wrong place at the wrong time. Like Eoraptor, many of the first dinosaurs were small and nimble, but a few species were larger and more terrifying. Heterosaurus, for example, grew up to 6 meters long and weighed up to 350 kilograms, or roughly 770 pounds. Despite its size, Heterosaurus was likely a fast runner, using its powerful hind limbs to generate sudden bursts of speed. Though it ran on 2 legs, Heterosaurus also had smaller forelimbs, which it likely used for grasping prey while hunting or eating. We know from the size of its jaw and the shape of its teeth that Heterosaurus was carnivorous and probably hunted small to medium-sized animals, including early dinosaurs like Spinosaurus. When Eoraptor and Heterosaurus walked the earth, dinosaurs were just gaining traction in terrestrial ecosystems. As dinosaurs became more populous, some species evolved more specialized features. Gradually, they diverge into some of the earliest examples of theropods and prosauropods, two crucially important clades of this era. Many early theropods, like Coelophysis, leaned into their predatory instincts, becoming fearsome predators. Meanwhile, prosauropods trended toward an herbivorous lifestyle, taking advantage of the many plants in their natural habitats. Dinosaurs are often known as ferocious carnivores, but it was a rise of herbivory that really accelerated dinosaur diversity. During the late Triassic, herbivorous dinosaurs were filling new ecological niches. Long-necked prosauropods gracefully browse an ever-growing Triassic menu, filling their stomachs with hardy shrubs, ferns, cycads, and conifers. With no shortage of food, these herbivorous dinosaurs grew larger and developed specialized traits like dull, grinding teeth. By the end of the Triassic period, these dinosaurs were among the most dominant consumers in the tropical belts of South America. But it would take another worldwide catastrophe to propel dinosaurs to global dominance. At the end Triassic boundary, around 201 million years ago, our planet was rocked by yet another extinction event, a series of massive eruptions in the central Atlantic magmatic province released staggering volumes of lava and gas. This influx of volcanic gases triggered a period of global warming. The world became hotter, and many regions experienced extreme weather patterns like harsher storms and longer droughts. Elevated greenhouse gases also starved the ocean of oxygen, severely impacting marine ecosystems. In total, the Triassic-Jurassic, or TRJ, extinction wiped out roughly 76% of marine and terrestrial species, such as the very creepy marine conodonts, but also dominant terrestrial beasts like Rauisuchids and Aetosaur. As these animals disappeared, they vacated significant ecological niches, which dinosaurs quickly rose to fill. Suddenly, the balance of power was shifting around the world, from therapsids and non-dinosaurian archosaurs toward eager populations of dominant dinosaurs. While the TRJ extinction catalyzed the rise of Jurassic dinosaurs, this transition was also influenced by another significant global event. Before the Jurassic period, Earth's land masses were merged together into a supercontinent called Pangaea. However, around 200 million years ago, Pangaea started breaking apart. It took many millions of years for all of Earth's continents to actually split, but the breaking of Pangaea divided our land masses into more isolated regions, each with its own climates and habitats. This had a huge impact on the development of new dinosaur species. In these isolated environments, dinosaurs adapted to unique challenges with diverse body plans and more specialized features. In North America, for example, Dilophosaurus was a ferocious and agile theropod that used its serrated teeth to carve into the flesh of other dinosaurs. Around the same time in Africa, new sauropods, like Volcanodon, evolved longer necks and pillar-like legs to support their massive bodies. These creatures represented key stages in the evolution of dinosaurs by establishing body plans and innovating traits that paved the way for the giants to come. It was during the Middle and Late Jurassic that dinosaurs reached the enormous sizes they're so well known for today. The largest dinosaurs of the time period were undoubtedly sauropods like Apatosaurus. This animal stretched 22 meters long and weighed around 22 metric tons, although some grew much larger, standing as tall as trees. Apatosaurus was so massive and powerful that even large theropods often kept their distance. Of course, it wasn't the only gigantic sauropod at the time, with creatures like Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus towering over other dinosaurs. As herbivorous dinosaurs grew larger, predators were forced to adapt evolving stronger jaws and sharper teeth to hunt larger animals. The biggest predators at that time were theropods like Allosaurus, a bipedal carnivore and scavenger that hunted other dinosaurs. At around 10 meters long, Allosaurus was large and strong enough to spar with oversized herbivores like Stegosaurus, an ornithischian known for its angular plates, and spiketail. We have uncovered fossil evidence of these blood battles in the wounds left by Allosaurus's teeth and Stegosaurus's spikes as these giants fought to the death. Dinosaurs continued to evolve and diversify throughout the Jurassic period and into the early Cretaceous. Around this time, theropods demonstrated an interesting mix of reptilian and avian features. Dromaeosaurids, for example, possess a variety of feather types ranging from simple filaments to complex bird-like feathers. These animals also had hollow skeletons and wishbones, making them close relatives of the first birds. It was during the Cretaceous that dinosaurs reached their peak biodiversity, producing the most dominant chapter in the history of dinosaur evolution. Hadrosaurs and ceratopsians waddled across the world's woodlands and plains. Sauropods grew to record-breaking sizes, with genera like Argentinosaurus surpassing 35 meters in length. Smaller theropods like Deinonychus hunted with speed and intelligence, using large, sickle-shaped talons to take down prey. They may have even hunted in packs or less coordinated mobs, although this is still subject to debate. Terrifying apex predators like Tyrannosaurus rex used their massive teeth and jaws to dominate the prehistoric world and eventually dominate our TV screens. Unfortunately, this period of biodiversity was cut short about 66 million years ago when a giant asteroid crashed into our planet. All non-avian dinosaurs disappeared during the subsequent extinction event, bringing this age of monsters to a dramatic end. But just as the decline of non-dinosaurian archosaurs made way for dinosaurs, their extinction laid the groundwork for other animals to rise and diversify. While non-avian dinosaurs disappeared, their avian relatives continued evolving, bringing forth the many species that prosper in our world today.